So we have damaged cars. We don't have any damage to any of our structures. There were cars that were damaged. We have made some arrests. I don't know what those numbers are. I haven't been briefed on the amount. It's not a big number. Like I said, the restraint that the officers have shown, I'm incredibly proud of their effort. However, like I mentioned before, these are serious charges, and we're not going to allow this to happen here. And so it's very important that people understand that.
Chief, this is Alina Machado here with Jawan Strader. Just wanted to ask you, have there been any reports of injuries, any officers injured, any protesters injured, and have any arrests been made?
We have made arrests. I don't have that number. I know that there's been some fire rescue calls of people complaining of gas, for example. I don't believe anyone's been injured on the public side, but I haven't been briefed on that just yet. I do know that we've made a number of arrests. And we've given the order to disperse, and people that break the law will go to jail.
What is the plan for, I know that there's a countywide curfew that's about to go into effect in 10 minutes. We were just out with NBC6 investigator Tony Pipitone in Miami. There were a lot of people out there. What is the plan to get these people off the streets?
We'll give the order, and we'll give them an opportunity, and we'll be patient, and we understand that people are angry. But for the most part, the majority of the people have been peaceful. Unfortunately, you have these bad actors. A lot have come from other places, and they're agitators, and they're the ones that want to create a further divide, and that's the unfortunate part. They want to divide us further as a community. We've got to come together and not allow that to happen. And the crowd that comes out and is peaceful, they need to call those people out and tell them that they're not going to accept that either. You know, we encourage people to come out. It's important. If you're angry, you have a right to assemble. You have a right to free speech, and we're going to protect that. But we're not going to allow people to break the law. If you do that, you're going to go to jail.
And go to jail is what apparently you're calling or trying to warn folks about tonight if they violate that curfew after 10 o'clock, correct?
Absolutely, and like I mentioned before, because I think it's lost on some people. They're emotional and they're passionate about what they're doing, and they've forgotten about COVID-19 and how dangerous that is. Because a lot of the images of people shoulder to shoulder, and then we deploy gas, and people are coughing and they're tearing. You know, that's a dangerous scenario that they need to consider because it's not like the virus has gone away.
No, that's true. And Chief, you know, it's interesting because you came out. You were probably a handful of police chiefs from across the country that came out quickly and made remarks right after the video surfaced of George Floyd. And I wanted your take on what you are seeing across the country. And I wanted your take on the feeling of coming out and saying something after seeing what the country saw and the world saw in the murder of an unarmed black man.
No, I think that's accurate. You know, my eyes are wide open. I saw the same video, and you know, we're not going to sugarcoat it or pretend that there were other issues or what did he do beforehand or what his criminal history is. That should have not happened. George Floyd should be alive today, and that is undeniable. The officer that was on him, he was arrested. He should have been arrested. The other officers that were there with him are culpable as well. I came out immediately once I saw that, as you know, Jawan, and called it for what it was. But what we need to do is come together now, because this takes the focus away from George Floyd and what happened there. This takes the focus away of what we need to do in law enforcement to have the courage to come out and speak about these things that we see ourselves. And that's what we should be focusing on right now, not destroying property, which has happened across the country. And the part that hurts my heart is a lot of those properties are Black-owned businesses. Some of those are Black historic buildings that have burned and that are irreplaceable. And we can't bring that back. And that's unfortunate, it's sad, and it shouldn't happen.
Chief, I wanted to ask you, have you heard any reports of looting or any sort of activity like that going on in the city?
We did get some reports of an attempt at Bayside. I don't know if they were finally able to loot a store or some stores. I'm going to be brief on that shortly. For the most part, we really haven't had any structures that have been hit. We did have a couple of our own police cars that were vandalized, but outside of that, we haven't gotten any other reports.
Okay, and real fast, we're taking a live look, Chief, and you probably can't see what we're looking at right now, but we do see on the left hand of the screen, we see a number of police officers. I see some smoke, so it looks like something. I don't know if it was from the protesters or from the police department. But how many officers have been assembled? Do we have the city of Miami Police as well as Miami-Dade County? We did see a Miami-Dade County vehicle. It looked like almost like a van out and about there in the streets of Miami. What can you tell us about that?
So we have, obviously, my officers, City of Miami police officers. We have Miami-Dade County officers. We have Miami Beach officers that are here to help. We have the Coral Gables, and I've had officers from many other departments. We're all united in the same cause, which is, we want to have people protest and voice their disgust in what's happened, but we want it to be peaceful, and that needs to be the message that we can do this, and we should be a model for the rest of the country, not fall in line with some of these other cities. We should be the city that shows people that you can go out into the street and be heard and be vocal and be loud and not be destructive and not spread hate, because this is just another form of hate.
And it takes away from the message sometimes too, when we are seeing some of the images that we have been seeing. So we really appreciate you tonight. And Chief, I would like to probably touch base with you hopefully here in the next hour or so, if not throughout the night. Maybe if not, we will touch base with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for making yourself available tonight. And definitely thank you for speaking out against what many saw across the country as murder.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chief. And we want to head on out to...
It was peaceful. It went tragic because of one. I'm telling you, I was an eyewitness. I was in 10 feet of this one guy that took it upon himself. I know the commander didn't give the order to throw that tear gas. He did it on himself, and then all the other ones just started throwing it and shooting those things. And it caused a mass panic. And the kids, the young people, got aggressive and started throwing water bottles. I don't have to explain what happened after that. But I can assure you, the people are blaming the protesters. But they need to search the videos for that one police officer that started all these cars to burn.
Okay, so we saw several tear gas cans deployed. We had to run several times from this area.
It choked me.
Yeah, just
bad.
From
Right here. You see right there? That's why I passed out. I don't even know who it was. Somebody came with a gallon of milk. And because I had to go get the old lady. And I couldn't make it. But I went back to get them. And right there where the car is right there, is why I passed out and he got milk. That's how my glasses got broken. They poured milk all over me.
So a burning sensation.
My whole face burning, lips, eyes. You can't inhale. It's terrible. But this is what I want to say. I was on the phone. I had to get my girl to call, the neighbors to call, to tell them to please stop shooting the tear gas, that they're killing the horses in the stables behind them. No one was concerned about those horses. They was in there kicking and screaming right next door.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much for talking with us. Thank you for speaking with us tonight. Yeah, but I just wanted you guys to hear that from someone who lives right here where all of that chaos that we saw earlier was going on, and who just described what it was like to feel that tear gas and smell it and have that burning sensation in his eyes. Again, let's just take another quick look at the officers in line right now, right behind the police department. Again, we saw several cars burning in this area. Protesters have, for the most part, cleared out. And again, that's because several tear gas cans were thrown out here, and that's when we saw the crowd really disperse. But that's what we're seeing where we are.
And Kim,